Hello and welcome to Guaranty's live stream, fresh from Junction City, Oregon, and Guaranty RV Supercenters. My name is Marshall White. I am your host today. I'm joined by my co-host, Quinn Larson, also known as Dr. Q, because he's going to help us doctor up these RVs today. How are we doing this morning, Dr. Q?
Very well, Marshall. How are you? Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Internet.
You know, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. The reason I'm doing so well is because we have a fantastic topic this morning. This is RV Parts Counter 101, and who knows better than Dr. Q? You know, he worked the RV Parts Counter for how long?
About 20 years, actually, all said and done.
That is so cool, you know, so young for working that long, you know, behind the counter. It didn't age you at all, look at Obama, you got none of that.
You don't age quite in dog years like you do as the president, but it can be kind of stressful, and that's sort of why we're here today, in that interaction between the retail customer and the parts counter can sometimes feel a little contentious, but it's mostly because, like in any situation, poor communication. Poor communication can actually lead to a lot of frustration and a lot of arguments. And we aren't really putting the onus on you as the consumer. We know that we have a job to do in this, but if you bring the proper amount of information, it makes everybody's life a lot easier. I've got a couple of simple little tools today. The first one being a notebook and a pen, because we're going to write some stuff down about our appliances, our VIN number, that sort of thing. The other one, of course, is a small flashlight. It's a fun little bullet-shaped flashlight they sell in the travel center, nice and bright. Yeah. And then I believe you've got your cell phone on you today, Marshall, which is a wonderful way to take pictures and bring them with you or send them to us.
Yeah. Are we on this camera, Jen? Yeah. So, what I love so much about these tips is it's coming straight from the expert. So he has been with us now at Guaranty for many years, very familiar with how things work at the RV Travel Center, but this works irregardless of where you go. And we would invite you, if you have RV parts questions, either ask them during this live stream, or please feel free to come into the Guaranty RV Travel Center here in Junction City, Oregon, and we can also help you that way. This is not a shameless solicitation for business. We have plenty of it, and we're very happy with that. It's more just trying to be helpful, let you know what tools to bring to the table when you do show up at the parts counter. Again, this is open to questions. This is RV Parts Counter 101. And Dr. Q, what is the number one thing that a consumer can bring to the parts counter to help facilitate a quick and seamless interaction with RV parts personnel and get them back on the highway?
Well, it's kind of, there's multiple answers to that question. I think that we'll start with the VIN number. Every vehicle has a VIN number. It's kind of the thumbprint for that vehicle. It makes that vehicle unique. If we want to head into the little Jayco Red Hawk here, we can show you basically where a VIN number is located on a Class C. On a Class C, you're going to find that VIN number in the same location that you would find it on any vehicle produced today. It's going to be in the door jamb, or it's going to be on on the windshield, on the dashboard, driver's side at the base of the windshield.
You're talking about that little viewing pane on driver's side windshield. Yeah, we're inside the the Jayco Red Hawk Class C. So, like Dr. Q said, I think for any vehicle, motorized vehicle, you're going to be able to find that VIN number right up in that corner. Yep. So door jamb or windshield for the motorized units. And then what about a trailer?
Trailer, you're going to find that on the exterior. It's going to be the same plate that's going to tell you your gross vehicle weight rating, your axle ratings, all of that stuff. It's going to be what we call the data plate it's normally on the exterior. Occasionally you'll find it where the manufacturer has stamped or grounded into the tongue. If you cannot find your VIN number anywhere, it is on your registration and it is also on your insurance card. So both of those documents are going to have that information on them. With a motorhome, you get a rolling chassis, so sometimes there's a serial number as well as a VIN number. Rolling chassis basically is a frame with a steering wheel and an engine that they bring into the manufacturing plant. The manufacturer puts the motorhome or the house on top of it. So sometimes they will assign the house portion a serial number so that they can keep a lot of the what we call OEM or factory stuff straight for what was on that coach. Like factory stuff would be the color of this paneling. this door, this panel here, that's all specific to this coach. This color and pattern of fabric, that's all specific to this coach. The RV industry can be kind of brutal with what we call decor stuff. I have seen customers in the past buy fabric, extra yards of fabric, because it could be 6 months, a year later, and that is just unattainable anymore, unfortunately. This industry, the only thing you can really change is the colors, and they try to keep up with the current trends with like countertops and the things you see in the household area. This catalog is an aftermarket catalog. I mean, that thing is 2 pounds and almost 3 inches thick. So when you come in looking for a part, to ask your parts professional to know every piece and part in there is pretty optimistic. So with the VIN number, we can look at your coach from several manufacturers, not everybody, but we can look at your coach and we can tell what they put on there. The other ways to make sure that you actually are bringing in good information is to take a picture of the product you're looking for. Absolutely, cell phones have become a great tool for not only for the consumer, but as a parts guy. Anytime I saw a customer pull their phone out and start to show me a picture, I thought, okay, we got something to work with here. Or if you have the component, that works the same as a picture of it, obviously. You've got the component in your hand, bring that in. I would avoid bringing in like large runs of your sewer plumbing and that sort of thing. I've seen customers bring in toilets and set them on the counter. It's not our favorite thing, we'll deal with it, but you don't necessarily need to bring that in.
Which reminds me, I'm hoping the funniest example we can give today, 20 years at the parts counter, you've got to have seen some pretty cool stuff come through the door. Anything come to mind? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, I have seen a lot happen at the parts counter. I've seen people make friends. I've seen people get very frustrated. We've had instances where they have literally brought in entire runs of plumbing. They've asked you to come out and look at something, and I don't know how they got the trailer there. I don't have a specific, but you see a lot of them. We get strange requests. We're asked for used holding tanks, used mattresses, used toilets, things that I just myself personally would not look for a used version of. It is very interesting. But the consumer, they're just looking to solve their problem and, trying to do it in an economical way traditionally. Some of the other items in here are like your appliances, and now the appliances sort of stand alone in that you may find this exact refrigerator in multiple brands of RVs. So when you get to your appliances and you need parts for your appliances, all of the appliances also have basically a VIN number. It's a product and model and serial number. So in this particular refrigerator, it's a Norcold. So our model is here. It's an N811. That tells us it's an 8 cubic foot refrigerator. We've got a serial and I believe a product number. Anytime you have any questions, you can either take a picture of that or write down all of those numbers, write down what they were. Serial number, product number, manufacture date, that sort of thing. If you just write them down on a piece of paper, you may not remember which one was serial, which one wasn't.
That's great advice. In my last RV, my refrigerator was, it wasn't propane, it wasn't electric, it was an ice box, if that tells you anything about my camper. And it was old enough, my age, 44 years old, that it no longer had the sticker. What do we do in those situations when we just can't find those numbers?
That's when the parts professional side of the counter really should kick in at that point. Bring us all the information you can. If you can't find any information on it, give us a call. Maybe we know to look on the back side of that particular model of the refrigerator for those. Maybe there's a trick where you can actually take some measurements and that'll tell us what the model is. There's always a way to get there. It's going to take the proper information like we were talking about in the beginning. So the better we come prepared to the parts counter, the better everybody's experience is going to be.
Solid advice, Dr. Q. My favorite piece of advice is that phone. I've used it successfully at the RV parts counter right here at the Guaranty RV Travel Center. It just makes their job that much more simple to get me back on the road and where I want to be, which is outdoors, fishing, hunting, camping. Should we swing outside?
Yeah, let's take a look at a couple more appliances. Just give you a basic idea of where to look for some of that, some more serial number, model number information. So on all of your appliances, they are going to make it relatively accessible to get to that information. Almost all of them are going to be some sort of sticker. We've got a plate here that says the same basic information as we were looking at the refrigerator. It's going to give us a model and a serial number. The reason the serial number becomes important is that there is a possibility that at some point this manufacturer will have had to change a component. So halfway down the stream, they cannot get this gas valve anymore. This goes from a 3/8 pipe thread to a 3/8 inverted flare. So they have to change this valve. So if I don't know your serial number, I will possibly get you the wrong valve with the wrong size fitting, even though physically it looks the same. So that serial number is kind of the line in the sand. We use this valve to the serial number ending in 4, and serial numbers from 4 up, we used a different valve.
Well, and that's why there's a lot of resources available, whether you're coming into a dealership. Many communities have an RV parts store. They have professionals there, but then there's also some great online resources as well. What are some of your favorites?
Well, you know, I generally try to go back to the manufacturer's website. If I was looking for something for this Jayco Red Hawk, I would find my VIN number and I would contact them. I have this year, this is my VIN number, and these are the products that I'm looking for. At that point, the factory will give you the information, generally a part number, and then often will give you a couple of dealerships in your local area that you can source those parts. Not many factories are going to sell you the parts outright. Occasionally a small piece or part they'll send as a gratis or a thank you for buying our product, but most of them try to funnel you back into the dealer program, and a lot of it is because they really believe that a technician or a professional should be installing some of this. I believe that if you have some technical and mechanical ability, much of the RV stuff can be done at home until we get into gas, and then we begin to have some possibility for danger later on. But most of them are going to send you back. Our parts team is very good at responding to those. To let you be behind the curtain a little bit, often when we get the request, what we do is we send it to the manufacturer, they send it back to us, and then we answer your question. So sometimes going around and getting the answer and sending us the answer makes everybody's life a little easier. But the internet has really become a great tool, but it's kind of a double-edged sword in that people are so trained by the automotive industry being able to walk in and say, hey, I have a 1975 Buick Le Mans, and I need the Speedo bracket. Okay, and they can look that up. So a lot of times when somebody comes in and asks for a piece and part, they'll have the year, they'll have the make, they'll have the model. When they ask for the part and you ask for a VIN number, they'll ask you, well, you can't look that up. There are a few manufacturers that allow us to look up some information. The VIN number really, truly is the most important piece of information. It makes sure that we are looking at that specific coach. The RV industry is interesting in that they buy pallets of product. And once that pallet is done, they move on to the next pallet. So the purchasing agent at a motorhome or a trailer manufacturer is going to get the best deal on appliances. So it's possible that once they run through a pallet of Suburban water heaters, they got a better deal on Atwood water heaters. So the same make and model made in the same year, now we're looking at Atwood water heaters versus Suburban water heaters. So the RV industry is rapidly approaching the 1990s in many ways. So that's why we ask that you come with as much information as you can, and it'll make everybody's, as I've said several times, make everybody's life a little easier.
What about obsolescence and you know, let's say we've got an older coach, 30, 40 years old. Is there a difference in the sorts of resources you would advise our viewers to use? There's a parts store on I-5, RV, what are they called?
Northwest RV Surplus, is that who you're thinking of? So there are some surplus places, there are some wreckers. They're going to have overruns. Wreckers are usually a pretty good place to find some obsolescent stuff. I believe the closest one to us is in Arizona, so they take up a lot of room. Imagine how much room a traditional junkyard or auto wrecker takes up, and now add 20 to 30 feet every vehicle that you put in there. So an RV wrecker really does take up a lot of room. There are other ways to do things. If we can see what you're looking for, we can go through that big, thick, heavy catalog and find something that does the same job. It may take a little bit of trimming in, trimming out. The RV industry is good at providing things that do the same stuff. They may not look exactly the same, and they may not mount the same. So you got to be relatively flexible, and with an older vehicle, you got to get good at improvising. The hardware store becomes a good source, and then online, a lot of places like eBay and stuff, people just take things off, or they've got an old coach and they're parting them out. So there are some places to do that. Unfortunately, you get to a certain age, and it's just you've got to get real creative.
That's what Sawzalls were made for.
There is a way to do it.
Of course, the forums, IRV2 and some of the blogs from many RV dealers, including Guaranty. They have a wealth of resources and good old-fashioned Google. Who would have ever thought we would say good old-fashioned Google nowadays? But yeah, just Google it. That'll help you a ton as well. So we hope that this information from our guru expert on RV parts is also helpful to you. And if you have any questions, even after we've completed this live stream, just let us know, post your comment, question, and we will respond. So from all of us at Guaranty RV Supercenters in Junction City, Oregon, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next week, Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, Internet.